All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is about conquering authority, addressing the inner bully. This is a 7-month transit. Mars will be in Cancer for about 5 of those months. And it's going to go back to about 17 degrees Cancer. And for about 2 of those months, it'll be in Leo. So I'm going to give all 12 zodiac signs. Before I do need to give out what is this about? What are the major things happening that I see? And the major thing happening during this Mars retrograde is it's going to be opposite Pluto pretty much the whole time. And it's going to be opposite Pluto in Capricorn and Pluto in Aquarius. So this Pluto retrograde just happened starting September 1st. I'm going to kind of throw some dates up on screen so you can kind of see what's happening early on this retrograde period. So I did get this from Lunatic Astrology. I took a screenshot. All right. So you see that Mars is in Cancer. It's going to start off on September 4th, which is pretty much like tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And then it's going to move into Leo November 4th. Okay. We're going to stop at 6 degrees Leo. And that's going to bring us back once January 6th happens into Cancer. It's going to go all the way to 17 degrees Cancer to February 23rd, 2025. And then we're going to go back April 18th. All right, so you see this happening from September to April. I'm going to try to help you understand like what you want to do with this, because this is 7 months, right? This is more than half of a year. And so it's like, understand that your sex drive, your drive to work or not work, your drive to plan or be passive, your entire ambition is going to be under revision and is going to feel a little different. You're going to want to push forward, but you're not going to understand why right away. You're going to want to look at other people outside of yourself and think, why are they trying to play games with me? And it's like, no, these are just childhood games where your own willpower has, from a parent likely, a lot of it's going to be from brothers, if you had an older brother especially, or a father figure, making you feel like, boom, every time I try to push forward, every time I try to assert myself, my own emotional wellness as well as my willpower seems to be stifled. And so I'm going to try to go ahead and show y'all a couple things that's happening, all right? As I dip into these comments, and again, I'm going to give all 12 zodiac signs for this. So let's dip in, because this is going to be something. It's going to be a doozy. So let's start with the first one right here, right? We're looking at Mars and Cancer starting off September. I said September 1st. That's actually not just September 4th to September 3rd. But it's happening like right now, right? Up until November 4th, right? So this is Mars and Cancer runs our 10th house of maturity, of discipline, of restricting ourselves, of learning how to become very much more efficient with our emotional pouring into other people, especially asking us to get very serious and, take this divine mother energy within us and stop pouring into everybody that's not ourselves. Stop blaming people for why we're in a bad situation, and understand that our relationships and our money and our finances are predicated on being more effective and efficient with how we pour and push emotionally towards our projects, towards our desire to be seen and to be seen authentically as ourselves. And what you're going to see during this time frame is, really family conditioning is coming back. And it's going to be, how did this governing parent make me feel like every time I put myself out there and allow myself to be vulnerable, show my insecurities within my relationships, within my lovers, with my business partnerships, why do I always feel more insecure? Why do I feel like hiding? Why do I feel like controlling them? Why do I feel like manipulating them? And that's a lot of this Mars opposition happening. And what you're going to discover is we need to come back to step into nurturing ourselves, pouring love and discipline into our literal renewed identity, which is really where Mars and Leo kind of pulls in. And so this renewal of our identity is kind of going through a brand new 12-year, and I'm sorry, 2 years, brand new 2-year cycle. And you know what this really looks like is we have to start with this particular aspect address. Okay, how have our hopes and our dreams, our literal aspirations, been keeping us down because we're unwilling to reveal that, you know what, I'm a little emotional about revealing myself, about expressing, you know, what's true to me, expressing why I am the way I am. And what you're going to be asked during this Mars and Leo time is to really be a little more investigative of your family dynamic. Because again, Mars and Leo's ruling the 4th house of family, but also the 9th house. And so you're going to be asked during this 7-month period, especially a heavy 2 months once November starts, you're going to be asked to investigate, like, you know, what does it mean to walk my own path? What does it mean to stop allowing, you know, these childhood traumas to hold me back, to keep me from, you know, being in my explosive self, my explosive personality, from using my more explosive emotions to actually propel me through what I consider traumatic. And we're going to walk through what these traumas might look like with our parents. So we're going to kind of be stepping in from, okay, well, this is what it means to be disciplined by an authority. Whether it's the police, a tax agency, your parents, you're going to start looking at all these people and you're going to want to kind of fight them. And, you know, the thing is, this fight is really psychological and it's tremendously internal. And it's really about addressing our inner fears and how do we bully ourselves based off how we felt or perceived that we were bullied by a parent or father or an older brother in our youth. And so again, you know, what I think is very serious about this is, you know, you see this as dharma. And dharma is really about, you know, aligning with your purpose, aligning with. I just realized that my microphone was not on me this whole time. My bad, bro. Putting this up. All right, this should be a little better. 7 minutes with my microphone off me. That's okay. Okay, cool. So if you can hear me better, let me know in the chat. Thank you. So it's really this Mars and Leo part, you know, from November 11th to December 12th. It's going to start its retrograde period, right? But it's moving direct on its time. And it's like, okay, it is dharma coming into play. It's our purpose to actually address the inner psychology on here has been my insecurities. Here has where I have lacked vulnerability. Thank you for the comments. And here how this vulnerability has really infected my partnerships, my relationships with lovers, as I've learned to essentially, you know, embrace, okay, here's how I've adopted this survival mechanism within my partnerships, within the way in which I manage my finances, the way in which I'm unwilling to actually make money in a way that is unique to me, in a way that takes and requires courage, in a way that I have all this emotional energy that I want to pour into, you know, being more authentic, not just emotionally, but financially, aka spending your money on things that actually matter to you and not what you have been conditioned to do and what matters. And, you know, what you're going to realize, a lot of people are going to stop pouring into, you know, conventional modalities of therapy, and they're going to start pouring into therapies that actually are uniquely designed for them to become their own master, to stop seeking the master outside of themselves, to understand your emotional wellness and become more emotionally intelligent, as well as socially. And this is an internal process while it's Mars and Leo. But when it goes into Mars and Cancer and retrograde, this internal process that Mars and Leo is going through is going to start to externalize. Now, this is what's very awkward and ironic, right? Because you would think Leo is the external energy, but it's not. It's not Mars and Leo specifically. Okay, Leo is an externalized energy, but Mars and Leo is very internal. And it's asking you to take the journey and to be tremendously courageous with okay, these are my fears. You're going to have a lot of investigative power behind your fears. Excuse me. And if you don't use this power to investigate, what are the roots of, how I felt a guardian or father or older brother has basically pinned me down, or even, what may not sound very kind, but from a very young toddler, adolescent age, how have these guardians actually, infringed on my own, sexual understanding and wellness and privacy, because what we get into next. And so I'm going to kind of fast forward this for a second and help you understand what I mean. Okay. This is about the Mars and Pluto opposition. Okay. And so understand that Mars is a very unconscious energy. Pluto is one that's going to reveal, what are these unconscious uh, discrepancies and secrets, as well as ways in which we've been manipulated, our literal manpower, right, or our masculine energy has been manipulated in a way where um, Pluto and Capricorn is now in retrograde, and it's going to be at that 29 degrees. And so we see it's there right now. So this is going to be happening while Mars is in Cancer, in complete and direct opposition. It's going to happen more while Mars is in Leo. That is going to be where Mars and Leo is going to be the bigger one that feels the impact between Pluto and Aquarius. And so here's what this looks like. Okay. I have some mini notes. When this happens, we're going to start feeling like, okay, there's no respect, especially for people in our romance, people who have children or are looking to aim to gain and create a baby, if not a physical, literal baby who's a human, a baby that you consider a project. You're going to understand like people who you meet in external outside of yourself, when they hesitate, when they're timid, you're going to literally just say, I don't respect that at all. And this is a part of Mars and Pluto. It's not, what it's trying to do is it's trying to take us out of our shell, where our insecurities and our inner deep fears and the ways in which we have bullied ourselves, the ways in which we have, you know, judged or criticized a policeman, a fireman, a tax agent, the IRS, the government, politicians, big pharma, whoever these things that we've given power to outside of ourselves, we're going to look at them and think it's them. But in reality, it's trying to bring us back to this childhood story. And this story really links back to when we were starting to be potty trained. And this is what's really awkward and ironic, because when you're getting potty trained, you're 2 years old or so, right? You're going through your terrible twos and you're trying to step into Taurus at this time. Taurus is these 2 years old age, leaving Aries, this identity. You're forming and shaping your identity, and you're trying to exert your will, right? Exert your power. And what happens with this is, what happens with the stage is, your parent is trying to force you to potty train. They're trying to force you to potty train, trying to get you to, sit in the toilet. And you're like, no, I want to get up. I want to move. And this is from a child's mind, Mars is digging into the psychology of, this authority figure is trying to potty train me, but I don't want to sit down and pee or poop. I just want to poop in my pamper. And it might be something as simple as that. But the thing is, the trauma is created for the child, because this is the child starting to discover their sexual identity when it comes to holding, something valuable for them, something that feels good to poop. Literally, as simple as this is in their psychology, it's like the child's like, it feels good to poop in my pamper. It feels good to, not poop in my pamper and not be cleaned when I want to be cleaned, versus, when my parent says it's time to sit down, it's time to poop. So this starts really from this very young age, and it's a weird thing that we go through from a psychological standpoint. Understand, Mars Pluto in opposition is a psychology-based transit, and so we're going to be truly, truly digging in tremendously deep into our psychology of when have we been violated. And the baby is thinking, I've been violated by this guardian of mine, this parent, this person that I love, the person who's supposed to protect me. And this violation starts to make you, let me check this note right here. It starts making you feel terrified of losing control. And that's what's happening. Because in this instance, it's like you don't have control. They just lay you down on your back, they wipe you down, they make you take a shower, and maybe you as a baby are like, I don't want to shower, I want to eat, or I don't want to eat, I want to run free, or I don't want to run free, I want love and I want attention. And so it's like the baby feels like in this instance, I don't have control. And they start thinking I don't have control of my sexual energy and how I use my sexual energy, how I play, how I create, how I cry, how I whine, how I express my emotion. You start crying and the parent goes, shut up. You know, you want attention and the parent's on their phone and they're ignoring you. And so you start thinking, I have no control over my circumstance. I have no control of my body. I have no control of my life. And this Mars energy is very primal. And it starts, while Mars and Leo at that 9th and 4th house, it starts thinking as an adult, how can I regain control? And so thinking as an adult, why can't I seem to keep a relationship? Why can't I seem to take care of myself? Why can't I seem to nurture myself? Why do I reject nurture? Why do I reject my sexual relationships with other people across from me? And it starts to feel, you know, as an adult, you know, as a 30-year-old, 40-year-old person, man, woman, you're like, damn, like I'm so subconsciously and secretively controlling and jealous in my relationships. And I don't understand where this jealousy is resulting from, because I don't feel like a jealous person. But the people I keep dating, they seem to be experiencing jealous tendencies. So as I understand my projections inside of myself, I realize, well, if I keep dating jealous men or jealous females, I must be jealous. Right. And so it's like somewhere we start understanding, like, okay, with the laws of attraction, you know, the laws of correspondence, the laws of polarity says, I can't keep dating somebody that annoys the hell out of me, that I don't like, that I don't enjoy. I can't keep having sex with somebody where I'm controlling and feel like I'm unable to have an orgasm. And unless I have it a certain way, I need things to be like this, or the orgasm is impossible. And it's like, no, it's not impossible. We're trying to dig back to those primal roots as a baby of, you know, orgasm is something like pooping, right? This is an orgasmic. You think about men having their G spot in their anus, for example. It's like pooping is an orgasmic experience for a baby, right? And parents are controlling this at a very, very young age. And they're really not trying to hurt you, right? They're just trying to clean you up. They're trying to get you to learn how to poop without making a mess, right? How to pee without, you know, destroying your clothes and getting them to smell like urine, right? So this is what's happening. And so what we have to admit during this transit with Mars and Leo, all right, and this Mars retrograde is, you know, how are we reacting as primal survival mechanism and defense mechanism, and rehabbing this scene over and over and over where, you know, manipulation power plays, as well as like, um, learning how to desensitize ourselves to other people, because it's like, well, I'm not in control, so I'm just going to cut you off. I'm just going to cut my feelings off. I'm going to cut my emotion off. And the problem is we're cutting off our primal sexual energy as adults. And that's the real problem. So what does this do? This begins to suppress your ability to create, your ability to feel and experience joy, to express your optimism, to learn how to be generous, kind, and loving and nurturing to yourself, as you are rewriting these programs so that you can step back into the dating scene 6 to 7 months from now during this Mars retrograde and start having sexual relationships more authentically, because you're able to learn to be vulnerable with yourself. Because what happens during this whole process is we forget and basically push away vulnerability, push away our sensitivity, stop being sensitive to other people, and essentially hurt them, right? Essentially try to control them, because by controlling the situation, what we feel we're doing as adults is regaining our power, taking our power back. And it's like, you know, here's the complexity of everything that's being said. Like, uh, it becomes counterproductive, right? To try to control your relationship, try to control, you know, every single aspect of your sexual interactions. It is counterproductive to put your partner in fear, right? I see somebody donated something. Thank you. I can't see who you are, but I thank you. I appreciate you. It's tremendously counterproductive, okay, to try to control somebody based off of fear. And we have to understand that what we're trying to genuinely control is this inner bully that has manifested within us, okay? Deep in our psychology, deep within our heart, this bully has manifested. And we're trying to regain control of our environment, of ourselves, of our identity, because we feel like we lost it at some point. We feel this emotional pain, this emotional disturbance, where it's like, what we're asking to do is learn how to trust and our in nurturing ourselves to bring ourselves to success. And we're trying to understand what is success for me in this day and age, not defined by the parent who I feel has, violated my primal orgasms as a young toddler, as an adolescent at the table, where I'm trying to tell my parent about my day, about how I was playing at the playground, and Rebecca was like this, and I kind of liked Rebecca, and the parent goes, you can't like boys, or you can't, they shut you down. They're like, girls are bad for you, or they say something like, don't do this, something that you as a child thought was genuinely fun. You thought you were genuinely attracted to it. It magnetized you at a primal level. As a baby, you have these hormones, you have these emotions, you feel what you feel. And then a guardian, somebody you see as an authority figure, whether it's a teacher at the playground, a principal, they told you, no, that's not good. No, you can't do that. And they seemingly controlled you because you were too young to talk back. You were too young to take your joy and say, no, I'm going to prioritize this. And all of these are going to start returning for us over this 5 to 7 months. And what's important is we must understand that, again, right now, if you start attacking these faceless authority figures, you'll look at police officers as bad. You'll look at the IRS or tax agencies as bad. You'll look at, um, you'll try to essentially demonize any authority figure in your life. And it's important during this time to understand, what do we deem as an authority figure, so that we can stop demonizing this perception, this projection that we created from this deep internal misunderstanding, right? At a primal level, so that we can ultimately, address our biggest fears, which is what Mars wants to do. It wants to look at the fear and wants to cut it away, right? And what you're going to start realizing is, our fear is, we want to successfully reintegrate this inner child. We want to successfully become our own guardian and learn how to more gently repair ourselves and accept that, um, if an orgasm, because of Mars and these sexual energies of Mars and Leo, Mars and Cancer, an orgasm equals surrender, right? That's how we're going to think for a moment. And then, but to surrender is my literal biggest fear. And so you'll see this heavy with women. Like, women are like, I want to have an orgasm. I miss this. But what they're struggling with is to be submissive for the right partner. Okay. Now I'm going to speak in conventional terms. I'm going to say male and female. And I understand we're in the modern age, and Pluto and Aquarius is like more identities than I understand and more ways to identify. So step one, just do your best in this moment not to take this next step personal. I'm trying to explain this from a principle standpoint, right? So the woman will think during this Mars and Leo, Mars and Cancer transit, right, that I want to have an orgasm. I want to have this orgasmic experience. I want to have this orgasmic adventure, right? And she'll look at the man and she'll try to believe that she needs to, control him. And when I say the man, I mean the masculine energy, which is within her, right? I need to control this masculine energy. And this may look like being a boss, or being an independent woman, or being a boss chick, right? And what she'll do is she'll misinterpret that masculine energy within herself, and she'll try to manipulate the man in her life, or the men in her life, and because they represent an authority figure. So she thinks, I want to tame him. I need to tame him. In reality, what she's trying to do is internally tame that shame that she feels she experienced from 0 to 3 years old, because she feels, I've been infringed upon sexually from a young age. That's how it was perceived at that 2 to 3 years old, right? And so what will happen, she'll feel I can't surrender, but I know I need to surrender. There's this deep yearning to surrender. And Pluto is here to help us break through this, because in reality, what Pluto was asking us to do, right? And while Pluto's in Capricorn, is asking us to embrace our powerful connections. The people and authorities in authoritarian positions, we're asking to essentially stop feeling like they're trying to control us and stop demonizing them, and realize that our hopes and our dreams are being held back because we have forgotten what it means to be kind, forgotten what it means to be gentle, forgotten what it means to be respectful and efficient, as well as giving within our networks and connections. And we will start to realize that as we can return to giving without any expectation of return, which is really what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to start giving again without expecting to return on what we gave, right? Without expecting the return on what we give. And so when we can do that, right, the world will start to give back tremendously. It'll start to operate with and for us. And that's going to bring us this final story of Pluto and Capricorn. That's the 11th house. We're going to go right back into Pluto and Aquarius, which says now, okay, now that I've stepped back into this, social understanding of how to utilize my own sexual energy in harmony with myself, right? I can start to become the authority again. I can take control and take life literally by the horns and say, all right, here's what it means to be mature. Here's what it means to, become the parent, become the authority. So I can now officially stop demonizing the authority outside of myself, right? And that's a lot of what this Mars Pluto is really, really about. So I'm gonna get into the last steps before I get to the zodiac signs for all signs, okay? The things we want to watch for during this time frame is to stop trying to focus on surveillance in order to try to control our environment as well as our relationships, especially our relationships, and even trying to control our money in a way where we restrict it. We don't give it. We don't share it. We think of money in the old paradigm where it's this lower root chakra trap, right? Where our security is endangered if we don't keep a certain amount of money in our pocket all times. And it's like what this Pluto is trying to do is reshape the economy and how we use as well as advance and develop our economic understanding about money as an energy. And when we start doing that, Pluto Aquarius is going to bring this opposition to Mars and Leo. And it's like, look, we used to trade a cow for bread. We used to trade wheat for gold. We used to trade gold for a wife or for a husband in older times. And it's trying to help reshape it and stop thinking so simple and think, okay, it's trade money for a service, trade money for a service, trade money for a service, or trade money for anything, money for this, money for that, money for this. And looking at money as this all-powerful thing is trying to help us stop that mindset so that we can start to balance the global economy, right? And so this is a longer term thing that we're going to see over 20 years. So don't get too stuck on that in the moment. But what you're going to realize is you trying to be surveillant and trying to control is going to become very exhausting. Anything you try to manipulate is going to become very exhausting. Any power play games that you do on other people is going to become very exhausting, right? Everything, when you come across unpredictable developments, the universe is going to step back in, right? And it's going to be like, yo, I'm going to take control again, right? And I kind of have that right here. So it's like, we're going to be in this state with this Mars opposition to Pluto of being terrified to lose control. Understand this opposition is going to last pretty much the entire transit, right? It will last the entire transit, right? I'm going to say this again. Mars and Leo will be opposite Pluto and Aquarius the entire transit. And so what's going to happen with that transit is going to awaken our deepest anxieties, okay? We're going to have to learn to stop trying to manipulate or control situations, people, relationships, our own psychology. We have to learn to let that go, okay? And we kind of talked about the potty training, right? Yeah, you're great. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Long time no see. Hope you're well. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. Shout out to Eternal Sunshine. Big love. Oh, what's up, girl? I remember you. I see a new name, right? Okay, cool. Let me see if I missed any major things. If you try to resist the change, you're going to become exhausted. Now, the other thing that I didn't mention is, let's say back in relationships, right? Because this is a lot of how we're going to assert ourselves in relationships. You're going to meet internally and externally feminine energies who will try to control the masculine energy rather than allowing herself to be in flow and actually submit to the energy if she can trust him. So what she's going to do, she's going to try to sharpen his edge. And how she's going to sharpen his edge? She's going to try to get him to change his mind. She's going to try to get him to break his promise. She's going to try to get him to see how committed he is. And the thing is, if she can change him, she will absolutely lose trust and she will actually find ways to humiliate him. And this is Pluto. And so this humiliation is going to last as long as it needs to, aka over the 7 months, in order for you to officially feel that this shame, aka feeling like a bad person, is so overwhelming that it forces you to become more intimate with respecting your masculine and your feminine within yourself. So this is one of the things I'm going to ask you for you. I'm going to ask you to maintain your self-respect over the next 7 months. When somebody gets you to try to change something that is true and authentic about your identity and the way in which you assert your willpower, you assert your will to love, I want you to never change based off of somebody trying to manipulate or control you or play a power game. Because what's going to happen is the feminine energy within you yourself is going to think he is pathetic. It's going to think, I hate him. It's going to think, how can I humiliate him for being such a weak man, right? And this could be a woman thinking, this could be a man thinking. So understand, like, again, we're talking feminine, masculine energies. So maintain self-respect. This is my key theme. Exercise a great deal of control and authority in your work and in your projects. That's where you want to put this because there's going to be a lot of excessive energy. That's where you put it, though. As well as into your investigation of your psychology, as well as your emotional intelligence and how it is evolving. Because Mars in Cancer, when it goes back in retrograde, will evolve how we assert ourselves in an emotionally intelligent way. Again, exerting control is going to be counterproductive. What we need to address is the change of our relationship with our inner fears and how we bully ourselves. Stop that. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Okay. Don't tire. Proving worth equals no process. Okay. Trying to prove your worth during this time frame outside of yourself rather than accepting it and embracing it within yourself is going to equate to no progress. Okay. And what we're being asked to with Mars and Mars retrograde 2024 is asking us to have no fear of the future. Okay, this is a critical thing. Even if you are wrong, you're going to be asked to take actions, and you're going to be taking actions in the dark because of Pluto in this picture. You're not going to be able to see the result of the actions you take before you take them. So you're going to be asked to take them anyways, even if you are wrong. because this is what it means to embrace the inner fears of your insecurities, of being wrong, of appearing to lose control. Because the way 10th house energy works, the way Capricorn works, okay, it works where it's like its bigger fears is to appear to not be in control. So inwardly, it could be losing its mind, but outwardly, it will maintain its stoic energy. And what I'm telling you is you have to be willing right now to allow people outside of you to think that you were wrong, so that you can experiment and get in tune with what is authentic and what is true for you. And so a lot of times it's going to be being wrong, or the appearance of losing control, that it's going to be the toughest thing while Pluto's a Capricorn, but it's at 29 degrees, so it's forcing the whole world to change. Okay. So one more time, I just want to say shout out to Eternal Sunshine for the donation. I really do appreciate you. I have this natal placement. Oh, look at that. Okay. Okay. So here we go. We're going into the zodiac signs. I do want to make a little brief mention. If you want to use this to do that deep investigation into yourself, into your psychology, you can go ahead and you can apply to work one-on-one for the Shamanic Rite mentorship. I max out of 3 people. Okay. There are still like 3 applications that I got to go through that I still got to go through. So, go ahead and get your application in. That's literally, that could be the next 3, who knows? But that said, I'm just putting it out there. Okay. Now let's move into the zodiac forecast for each sign, about how this is going to affect you over the next 7 months. All right. So we're going to start with Aries. And before we do, we're going to go ahead and calm this energy back down. Okay. Now here we go, Aries. You're number 1 on the list. Let's get it on and popping. Aries, Mars in Leo is your 5th house. Now here's what this means. The opposition of Pluto is happening in your 11th house. Aries, in your communities, in your groups, can you address that inner bully that is not allowing you to assert yourself without caring about how you are criticized? Can you be truly unique? Break down the parts of your ego that changes itself, how you express your identity, and the parts of you that is transforming and mutating and looking for the attention to be nurtured, to be cared for, and authentically. Can you address this power dynamic? Break away that part of you that craves the attention that feels that I need it, while not allowing yourself to be yourself. When you go back into Mars and Cancer, you're going to learn to look at your initial impulse for attention, your initial impulse to be liked. And you're going to start destroying that false self. When you do this, you're actually going to be reinvigorating your power, reinvigorating your authority, becoming the baby boss of yourself, no longer idolizing and demonizing authorities outside of yourself. This will make you appear so bright, so loving, so able to be yourself, which is a true and authentic relator, someone who relates with people as their pure, primal, raw, likable and unlikable self. And you're going to accept that. To nurture and love yourself is the greatest challenge. No matter if people like you or not, you will always have a war with somebody who's not you. And that will remind you that this is the war you have with yourself, Aries, to fully, thoroughly, and undeniably be who you were meant to be. Someone who will be remembered in time. This next 5 to 7 months, Aries is going to remind you of that. So hit the thumbs up and the likes button as we move into Taurus. Taurus. Mars and Leo is going to have you cut through where you martyr yourself in your relationships. It's going to allow you the time to embrace what it means to dignify your own emotions and the ways in which you take care of those emotions, and the ways in which the challenges you go through, psychologically speaking, the journey into your own emotional body, is going to allow you to return to integrity. What it means to have integrity. What it means to be the living embodiment and image of integrity. So that you could be more intentional. Taurus, in your relationships, by cutting away the programs, where you have been copious and excessive in your relationships with your emotions, so that you can return to the stable rock that you always have been, Taurus. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Gemini. Mars and Leo has you cutting through the difficulties you experience with your speech, with your behavior in social settings. It's reminding you that your social intelligence is exactly that. It's intelligent. You're going to stabilize with that understanding of how to walk your own path in the society, in the groups, in the networks that you deal with on a day-to-day, Gemini. Pluto is going to be sharpening you while it's in Aquarius to literally work on improving yourself daily until you become the literal best at publishing your ideas and publishing what's worth being recognized for. You're going to get very intimately close to what you want to be recognized for. And your speech, your literal behavior has to start matching your future self, as you are no longer afraid, Gemini, of what people say about you simply being curious with your imagination and how you pursue that imagination and how you create from your imagination. This is really a transit for you about becoming the best, but maintaining your humility. And that's the challenge, to stay humble. Thank you, Gemini. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Cancer. Here's what's happening for you. Mars in Leo starts in your second house, and it dips right back into you, right? Where you'll be cutting away behaviors. That has stopped you from pursuing the career worth enjoying. You're one of the main ones who is susceptible to conditionings from the family. And so you're going to be doing some investigation, some deep diving on who am I? Who have I become? Because I did not either recognize or address my inner fears, my inner insecurities about being my literal self and about showing and using my personal, innate, born with talents to bring happiness, joy, and light to other people. Where do I forsake my own authenticity and refuse to be responsible with how I progress my projects without fear? This Mars-Pluto opposition, while this Mars is in retrograde, is going to be addressing these matters for you. You're no longer going to see anybody but yourself as the authority in your life over this next 5 to 7 months. It's a tremendous time, Cancer, as a feminine sign, to embrace this masculine energy of Mars, to pause, reflect, move forward, shift, progress, and alter, and wave yourself back and forth at your pace, understanding that you are officially authority, Cancer, and no one outside of you can tell you how to move, how to flow, and how to be who you were meant to be. Thank you, Cancer. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Leo. Mars retrograde 2024 starts at 6 degrees. Any 6-degree Leos, you are the main ones. Anything around that, 5 degrees plus or minus. And you're the star, right? So the thing with this is, you're running through the first house, and it'll shift you back into the 12th house, meaning, Leo, you're going to be asked to address your delusions, to address where you have dipped into your imagination and forgot who you were, so that you can reform, reshape who you're becoming and who you always were meant to be. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is really going to show you who you are. It's going to reveal your dreams. And a lot of this is going to happen in private. It's going to happen in private within your marriage. Whether you're married to somebody with a ring on your finger, or whether you're married to somebody in your own imagination, that you're unable to embrace the proper relationship that's actually for you. And so you deny your needs. You're going to be asked on this time to embrace those inner subconscious fears, Leo. And I believe truly within my heart, the magic of this is you're going to become psychologically wealthy, Leo. And that abundance that begins and starts here, the enthusiasm that you regain control of here, and emotionally here, Leo, is going to bring you through one of the most profound transformations in how you use your emotional power. Okay, your desire to create something, your desire to be artistic and musical and absolutely dreamlike, something that is worth admiring, is going to be reborn for the next 2 years for you, Leo. And this transit is literally for you more than anybody else. But you will be asked to address where you are copious, where you go too far, where you do too much, and you misdirect your emotional power in a way that looks to silently manipulate others in a way that they don't fully comprehend, in a way you probably don't fully comprehend. And this is happening within your relationships, Leo. So as you address this, I truly believe you're going to have a spiritual wealth forming of brand new emotions, aka changing how you remember your experiences so that they can create healthier relationships for you, full of intention and integrity. Thank you, Leo. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Virgo, Mars Retrograde 2024. Is doing miraculous things for you, Virgo, without a doubt. And what you're going to need to do, Virgo, is work on your positive thoughts, work on your positive mindset, work on making sure that your behaviors match what you do in the physical world. And you're only going to get there by addressing, dismantling, and reconfiguring through an entire transfiguration the way in which you try to control your environment outside of you to reflect the control you're desiring to align with internally. Virgo, your ego is going to go through a breakdown and a rebuild. And it's so that you can learn to assert yourself by doing this deep investigation into your psychology, into your moments of shame, guilt, and regret. And by you changing those stories and matching your behavior to the most positive and enthusiastic version of who you're becoming, by allowing yourself to make more mistakes in this entire transformation, Virgo, you have the opportunity to create whatever reality you want. And it's actually a very magical process for you. And here's the irony. Mars, when it goes back into Cancer, will be giving you tremendous gifts by connecting you with people who will begin to sponsor your dreams by you allowing yourself to make those mistakes and stop controlling how you are perceived, what you say around who you say it. That's your truest magic, Virgo. And that's what's going to give you those 11th house gains. So I'm excited for you. You're a big winner in this one, in my opinion. Libra. Libra, you're another one during this Mars Retrograde 2024 who's winning. You're winning large. You're winning in a way where you're likely creating an entirely new financial stream of income. I even see you diversifying that income stream and making it from multiple ways, more than you could have dreamed of. In order for you to do that, you have to actually take a moment during this Mars retrograde to step back into a higher level of service, Libra. You have to start doing things for people without expectations in return. That has been your biggest crutch. There's this silent expectation of, what am I going to get? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to do this because this person likes this, and it's trying to manipulate other people because you understand their intentions, you understand what they want. So you try to give them that, whether it's praise, whether it's a gift, whether it's this or that. And then you silently are expecting something in return that the other person didn't agree to. Understand, as a Libra, you must be in agreement with the other party. As you do this, and you stop manipulating and playing power games with yourself, because most time the other person would just be confused of what was happening here. They're not going to know. This is going to actually bring you a lot of pleasure, a lot of harmony, and literally build an income stream. And I think it's more than one that will become very reliable, very stable. During this Mars retrograde between Leo and Cancer. Thank you, Libra. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Scorpio. This is a very personal transit. All right. You're going to be stepping back with your caretaker, and you're going to be investigating your caretaker in youth and how they force you to either mature too soon before you felt ready, to the point where you begin to despise anybody who had power. And so you wanted to control your situation, your image, but so deeply that it became a very negative process within your own mind and within how you control your own behavior, control the image of yourself, and even the things and the habits you do when you rise and how you take care of yourself. This is happening with the rulership in Mars of your 6th house. And so I really feel this has something to do with the way in which you take care of your health. And I do feel this is food related because you have 2 earth houses. Scorpio, you're going to be asked to make some modifications and changes and realize that eating your emotions is impacting your own physical body in a way that's not allowing you to be of the highest service possible. It's not allowing you to support people who are less fortunate than yourself. You're trying to control your physical body and even your health in a way that is emotionally unstable and is requiring a reform. It's requiring you to rewrite the program. And to do this, it's about stepping back into Mars and Cancer transit 2024 on the dates we listed above. Stepping back into that 9th house and reshaping your psychology, your spiritual practices, and especially your connection with God. And Scorpio, as you reform your connection with the God inside yourself, you can stop demonizing those authorities outside of yourself. And again, a lot of this is going to happen by you cleaning up your bacterial health and your gut and your stomach. Clean it up, clean up the mucus, because it is clouding your connection with God. It's not allowing you to accept that you yourself are the God body that you've been waiting to save. Nobody's coming to save you. You are in the process of being responsible for yourself. Taking action and cutting through yourself. And that will allow you to, when Mars comes back into Leo, gain the power, the status, and the recognition that you truly crave. And a lot of it's going to happen by releasing the control. Over what God does and how God does it. Understanding that you yourself and your physical body is the God that you need and want to take care of. So whatever the health habit is that you have, the one that's destroying you, make that alteration, reform it, investigate it deeply in psychology and psychologically, and then be reborn like you love to do, Scorpio. as that authority. There's no one to fight. There's only you to embrace. Thank you, Scorpio. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Sagittarius. Mars Retrograde 2024. You'll be going through a little flip-flop of a couple of things happening. One of the main ones is Pluto and Aquarius will be enhancing your connection to God in a different way than Scorpio. It's not so much about your physical body from what I'm seeing. No. It's about your mind. Accepting the dualities within your mind. Accepting the extremes of the highest possibility and the lowest depths of you hitting rock bottom, and looking at those times when you have gone high, when you have gone low. Looking at the times when you have been excessive in both directions. Trying to discover who you are. Trying to rewrite and get in tune with who you're becoming. Who I want to be recognized as. You're going to go through a disintegration, transformation of your personal needs. And you're going to start understanding, well, what do I need, personally speaking? And how can I supply and nurture and take care of those needs without any other support outside of myself? That will allow you to step back, literally from the depths of hell, okay, and relocate that light within your heart. That's going to be what lets you shine bright. That's going to be what allows you to speak courageously and authentically without making up stories or adding any details about any channeled messages you receive. All right, stay Sag. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Capricorn. You are activating your 8th house. Mars Retrograde 2024. Has some deep transformations for you. And it looks like reassessing your goals on a long-term base. You're going to be going through 5 to 7 months of changing how you feel about your future direction and about how you have no fear for the future, no fear, no anxiety either, because you're going to better be able to not only listen to yourself, but the guidance inside of you. There's a voice in your head that's asking you to break down and stop looking at other people to gain that sense of self. You're going to be asked to address the power games that either you played or people outside of you played, which is still you. And how you have found ways to manipulate or allow yourself to be manipulated, which is still you. And ultimately balance out this energetic sharing with other people in your career, in the way in which you discipline yourself and your relationship dynamics. This will allow Pluto and Aquarius to rebuild your bank account, to make it more stable and based off of something simpler, something more harmonic, especially within the support that you receive from the world, especially across the internet if you're an entrepreneur, no matter the country, no matter the sect, the dialect, the religion, you're going to be above and outside of that. And in order to do that, you got to step back into your relationship dynamics with integrity and be responsible and be tremendously intentional and accept where have you not been so intentional, where have you not been so clear-minded because you've been overly sensitive to giving help and support to another person when you needed to give it to yourself. At the end of the day, this will allow you to energetically share freely without expectations of return. And it will become more emotionally fulfilling because you're going to be moving in the direction that God tells you. And you're going to be able to listen to that clearly. Thank you, Capricorn. Hit the thumbs up on the likes button. Aquarius. You are going to be taking a lot of action towards your sensitivities of what other people need. And making sure that you get your needs met while still finding a way to get and support and appreciate the people outside of you. I do believe you're a tremendously sensitive sign. I do believe sometimes you take more responsibility than necessary for things that are not necessarily aligned with your intentions. And I do truly believe that every day in your daily task, the control you have over your environment is the control you're going to regain over yourself. And you're going to put that energy towards your dreams instead of trying to control somebody else outside of you. Aquarius, when you do this and you become effective and efficient in the responsibilities you have to be of service to the world, to be of service to your groups and associations, and to be of service to your romantic and or business-related partner and client, or clients, especially in one-on-one spaces. You'll go through a full transformation on learning how to speak truthfully, out loud, without fear of being seen. And this is a huge transformation for you, Aquarius. I repeat, without fear of being seen. You're about to get a lot of spotlight. So buckle up and hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Aquarius. I'll see you soon. Pisces. Mars Retrograde 2024, Mars in Leo, is a natural quincunx relationship to you. So understand there will be some, Pisces. Understand, Pisces, there will be some difficulty in understanding what you're being asked to do and what you're being asked to support and how you need to become more sensitive to your own needs, and especially in your relationships to leave behind, okay, the martyr and the victim. This is not going to work for you during this time. You're going to be asked to bring yourself joy and tremendous fulfillment, especially in your romances, especially in your loving relationships with the people you're dating, because this is about the everyday. And to be in a long-term lasting relationship, it's not about what happens on day 1, 2, 3, or the first month while you're in the honeymoon. It's about how do you sustain this every day for years, for decades, until you die. And so to get this done, you're going to need, Pisces, to embrace the truth. In order to find the truth, you're going to need to meditate, because meditation is a process of becoming familiar. So you need to become familiar with your relationship with authority figures and why you struggle to surrender in particular areas. Because let's be honest, surrender, going with the flow is a naturally easy thing for you. But there are parts of yourself that you have hidden, that you've tucked away, that have remained in isolation and in secret, that this opposition of Mars-Pluto is going to force you to revisit and to stop demonizing a particular authority figure, father, brother, something like that, so that you can better surrender and have and live and experience a more orgasmic existence and fulfillment on a daily. I think especially within your relationships, within your romantic partnerships. And the result of this is, one of the beauties is, you will become more psychologically wealthy, Pisces. You will become more psychologically abundant. There's going to be an internal process that's going to happen during your self-examination as you release control of the day-to-day of having to get things particular, precise, and perfect. And that psychological abundance is going to turn into physical, monetary harmony and pleasure and joy every day. This is a dream come true as you embrace where you need to either stop manipulating or stop allowing yourself to be manipulated, because you're way too wise and you always know, even if you hide the truth from yourself, which you can do easily by placing that truth in our pocket dimension and just forgetting about it and go, pop it out of existence. It's about to pop right back up. As you address that, there's a tremendous amount of wealth and abundance happening, waiting for you to blast off into yourself on a day-to-day. Thank you, Pisces. So this is the Mars retrograde. Go back, check your timestamps if you're watching this now. I'm going to put them up probably later today. I want to say thank you for being here. This was a tremendous joy. I love you all. Do check in with the beginning, because that's where the bulk of what you need to know prior to the transits was at. We'll see you all soon.